will know what they're up to when they do it. And it wouldn't surprise me to see American patriots and militias somehow twisted into this definition.
Okay. Excellent.
I wish you guys, when you listen to me, would really listen to me.
We try. We record.
Well, most of the time you hear what you want to hear, or you hear something that I never said. And that bothers me.
That's not true, Bill.
Well, what you said had nothing to do with what I said.
That's not true.
It is true. You want me to play it back? I tape this broadcast every night. I got a tape running right here. I can play back your words for you if you want me to.
Okay, but I didn't mean what I said.
Ah.
I like your response.
Usually you don't mean what you say, and that's the whole problem. Thanks for calling. 520-333-4578 is the number. It really bothers me when I say something on the air and you hear something completely different that I never said at all. That's disturbing. That's really disturbing. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Bill. This is Tim.
Hi.
Haven't they already defined who terrorists are? The Project Megiddo came out.
Project Megiddo. What is Project Megiddo?
That was the FBI's thing that...
How do you know?
Well, I read it on the net.
You read it on the net?
Yeah.
You know something? I could sit down tonight and write all kinds of fictions and post them on the net and say the FBI did it. Would you believe them?
Probably not.
You made no attempt to verify whether it was really written by the FBI, or if it was written by the FBI, if any portion of it had been changed by somebody else.
Well, they claimed even on the TV that it was an FBI operation.
You're not listening to me. How do you know that the copy you found on the net was a verbatim copy?
I don't know.
That's my point. You don't know. So stop believing the crap that you find on the net, including what's posted on our website, unless you verify it. You have to verify it. You can't trust anything anymore. That's how we got where we're at. Don't you understand?
Yes, I do.
Then stop it. Stop reading this crap that you find everywhere and just blindly believing it. So you don't know if it's true or not, do you?
Well, no, I don't.
That's right. That's how we got to the point where we're at right now, is everybody trusting and believing and, not questioning anything. And that's exactly the way they want you to be. It's got to stop.
I guess their plan is working perfectly then, huh?
If you buy into it, yes.
Well, I don't buy into a whole lot, I guarantee you that.
Well, stop believing anything unless you can prove it. Check it out. There's the Freedom of Information Act. If Project Megiddo was really a legitimate project of the FBI, you could send through the Freedom of Information Act to the FBI and get a copy. Did you know that?
Okay.
And then when you've got an official copy in your hand, you can say the FBI wrote this and said this. Otherwise, you don't know. Because I'm telling you right now, most of the stuff on the Internet is either a total false, fake, fraud, lie, or it's truth mixed with lies, or it's been doctored in some way.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
You can't trust it. Believe me, you can't.
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
God bless.
You too. You can't believe this stuff, folks. Finding it on the Internet doesn't give it any more legitimacy than getting it in your fax machine from the Patriot Fax Network. It's still bullshit. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hello, Mr. Cooper. This is a call from the UK. I'm up early in the morning listening to your broadcast, but it's well worth it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Could I just ask you, have you been able to review any of the video footage of the terrible tragedy? We had a montage of video footage that was broadcast in the UK about 3 days after the event on the commercial channel, the ITN channel, news channel, which is our main basic news apart from the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
And on that, I happened to be videoing some of the montage, and something just caught my eye, and it was so quick and so fast, but it just caught my eye, and I reran the video and pressed the, advanced frame-by-frame button,
Mm-hmm.
and the two towers, this was a little piece where the plane was coming in from the left-hand side to the left-hand tower, as it was on the screen. The right-hand tower had already been hit, and there was a huge plume of smoke that was going from the right-hand tower, and the video footage showed the commercial plane coming in on the left, and as I entered, and then the explosion went on, and then I saw a shadow that was in the plume of the smoke, and it was a dark shadow moving frame by frame, and then as it came out of the plume of smoke, it was either a very, very large missile or a plane, and its plane...
Wings and the two engines in the vertical tail.
Absolutely right, and it was so quick, it was hypersonic.
Yeah.
And you know all about it.
Yes, I do.
Wow. Well, nobody else was talking about this. What was happening?
I have no idea. All I know is that there was an American fighter jet plane right with that second hijacked jet that crashed into the second tower.
Absolutely right. And in the newspapers, a couple of days afterwards, there was an image of a supposedly very top secret fighter plane that's very, very fast, and it looked exactly like that.
Yeah.
And that definitely happened, and that must have also crashed then, sir, mustn't it?
No, it didn't crash.
Oh, it didn't crash?
No, it flew right on by and kept right on going. And that's what other people are saying is the mystery object in the sky. And they claim that it hovered, but it doesn't hover. It's moving away, and so it looks like it's not going in any, but it is. It's moving away.
But on the screen that I was watching, though, if you saw the angle of it coming down, it looked as if it could only crash. It was
No, it didn't
incredible.
crash. It went right by the building, and right on the other side, and then it turns and goes directly away from the camera, and it looks like a white object in the sky, and some people have, listen to Art Bell, if you get him, he claims that it was a flying saucer.
Oh, yeah. Well, this thing was actually dark in color, that I saw, that it got on the screen, and it's actually dark. Without a doubt, it's either dark metallic gray or black.
Well, it depends upon exactly where in the frame that it was. When it reached the other side of the building, it was in full sunlight, and it looks like it's white.
Right, I see. Okay, well, I'm just amazed, but shouldn't be amazed with you. I listen to you all the time, that you knew about it. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
At least you know. Thank you very much for your program, and we're all rooting for you, sir. We really are, and America.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for calling. 520-333-4578 is the number. That's right, folks. And the plane that went down in Pennsylvania was accompanied for many miles by at least one F-16 American fighter, which shot that plane down. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hey, Bill, this is Mike in Canada calling. I thought I might give you a laugh here. Our federal government said yesterday it has frozen the finances of terrorist groups and individuals in Canada, but later refused to say whether any such assets exist.
Well, of course. And of course they can't name the terrorist groups because they don't know who they are, do they?
I guess not.
Why can't they publish the names of the terrorist groups and tell in the newspaper exactly what funds on deposit at what banks were frozen?
For everyone's benefit.
Yeah, I'm telling you why they can't. Because they haven't done any such thing. It's bullshit.
Another thing, you mentioned Larry King earlier. About 2 weeks before the September 11th event, he was a guest sitting around the fire with George Bush Sr., and it was really a media job, just making him look like your favorite grandfather and actually reading old letters, love letters he sent to his wife. I don't know whether it was just timely or not, but it'd be interesting to hear some love letters to Noriega or China and whoever else he knows. It just seemed like such a con job.
It is. It's a media circus designed to propagandize the sheeple out there. So that's what it is.
Thanks, Bill. Good night.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. 520-333-4578 is the number. It's your turn to call, Poopy. Pick up the phone and dial it. 520-333-4578. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it. I trust no one.
Good for you.
I trust no. I'm the guy just called. I didn't mean.
Goodbye. 520-333-4578 is the number. Don't take what I say on this broadcast personally. I use your call to educate millions of people. And if you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, you better not ever call this broadcast. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, Bill, I called in tonight. There was that brother from the UK. I'll support that because I called in at night, and you said no one else had reported that at the same time, but you could plainly see before they cropped the picture that there was two F-16s at about building top level.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe 50 feet below that airliner when it came in. So that means they were escorting that jet. Either they couldn't shoot it down, or they couldn't talk it down, or they were escorting it in there and showing it where to go or something. I hate to say.
Yeah. Well, there's a question about whether they had rules of engagement that would allow them to shoot down a civilian airliner full of passengers. We do know that at some point, President Bush did give the order that if there were any more hijacked planes in the air, and if they were headed for targets, shoot them down. And that's what they did to the plane in Pennsylvania. They shot it down. But they're not going to admit it.
That's correct. I heard a report on that a plume of smoke came out of the engine, and that one person said no one in the cockpit could make that happen. So that had to come from the outside.
Yeah, it was the F-16 fired a heat-seeking missile that went right up the exhaust of the engine and blew the wing off.
I certainly believe that. And the way they use this spin doctor that we're all watching and paying for this being indoctrinating, they deserve a reward and they should be shot. Given a medal and shot, I think.
Who should be given a medal and shot?
The people that are controlling this whole thing and pulling the strings on this indoctrination device, this one-eyed demon in your living room floor.
No, I wouldn't want to give them a medal. I just want to shoot them. In fact, I'd rather hang them. I'd rather hang them in Times Square at high noon and let the whole nation watch it on television.
The way everything goes so smoothly for them, would you admit that it's almost demonic in its nature?
Let's not get into religion. Let's not get into demonic. You want to talk about demons, call Art Bell. Okay?
Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome. 520-333-4578 is the number. No, demons didn't do it, folks. Demons didn't do it. People did it. People did it. God didn't do it. People did it. Makes me sick to hear these people say, it's God's will. It's not God's will. It was people's will. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yes. When are you going to fix your Majesty 12 page? There's a CIA document missing.
I have no idea. The website's huge. You need to talk to the webmaster.
The webmaster?
So you need to go to the site and email the webmaster.
Do you think there's any validity in how the Japan report that Pentagon is recommending tactical nukes against Afghanistan?
No. I think that's purely conjecture, and if the Pentagon were recommending any such thing, they certainly wouldn't tell anybody that would go and report it on the news.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
520-333-4578 is the number. But I will tell you this, if anybody else used nuclear tactical weapons or nuclear weapons of any kind, we would certainly not hesitate to retaliate with atomic weapons. That I know about the military. Good evening, you're on the air.
Good evening. This is Chef from New Jersey. How are you?
Good.
I'd like to thank you for a bit of phraseology I have not heard for 2 decades. And it made me smile, and I will certainly use it. And your phraseology was to suffer fools. And I would just like to thank you for saying that tonight.
You're welcome. And it's true. I do not suffer fools. Period.
Have a good evening.
You too. Thanks for calling. 520-333-4578 is the number. Yeah, the Americans have been coddled. I mean, we have just been spoiled rotten. We think we're so smart, and we're so educated, and we know it all, and we're the kings of the earth. The truth is, the majority of the American population are dumber than earthworms. Good evening. You're on the air.
Bill.
Yes, sir.
Nelson, Syracuse, New York.
Yeah.
Did you get the package I sent you on the risking?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much.
Did you also see in that package a copy, a Xerox copy of the IRS rules for churches?
Yes, I did.
Very interesting. Our good boy Rush Limbaugh says there's no Bilderbergers. But in that list, the IRS recognizes the Bilderbergers.
Well, let me qualify that. Unless you got the list directly from the IRS, you don't know if it's an IRS list or not, do you?
Well, that is correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Unfortunately, I was assuming.
Well, you can't assume anymore.
I'll try to check it out.
There's more lies and bullshit and frauds and crap and deception out there than you can even possibly imagine. Over 95% of everything that you ever see is a lie.
Right. Very good. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yep, I got what you sent me. But just because it says IRS at the top don't mean it came from the IRS. Good evening, you're on the end. Hello?
Hello, Bill.
Yes?
The early days of the tragedy, you had said that the building was brought down from the bottom down. Are you still holding to that position?
I believe one of them at least absolutely was, yes.
Okay, because I was just looking back at the building number 7, the third one that came down,
Mm-hmm.
and that was clearly from the bottom down. You're absolutely correct on that one.
Yeah.
In fact, the video which was taken, and it sounds like they're saying, nice shot, police, in the background as they're taking it.
Yeah.
They're homing in on the bottom floors even before it starts to come down.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's well, what can I say? I mean, you've heard everything I had to say. And, yeah, I believe at least one of the twin towers, for sure, was brought down from explosions on the bottom.
okay. Wanted to know.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
520-333-4578 is the number. A lot of the people who were exiting the Trade Center towers reported that when they got to the ground floor in the lobby, there had definitely been explosions down there, and people heard explosions. So you can believe what you want to believe. The evidence that I have on videotape and the evidence that I have from the testimony of witnesses points to at least one of the twin towers was brought down by controlled detonations. Good evening, you're on the air.
Well, Bill, I was thinking with many people listening, the credibility that you can add to somebody watching internet display or any of this information is that they need a real good, solid background in science.
Well, yeah, but you know what? The level of the background of science you need isn't any more
That's right.
than about 8th grade.
So if somebody's trying to be rational and they understand the years of experience and the scientific background of somebody like Ben Parton when he's trying to explain what happened with the explosives in Oklahoma City, then he can judge who's telling the truth and who's giving a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
But in your own capacity, you're an experienced diver. If you could understand and explain to somebody why they could get the bends simply because they did some shallow diving, but they went up to 10,000 feet in an airplane a little later in the day.
Yeah, you don't fly after you dive.
Yes, exactly.
That's a rule. Divers don't get out of the water and go to the airport
And
unless they want to die.
when you're dealing with a lot of the material science, very basic things like the triple point for water, the understanding of the freezing and thawing and contraction and expansion, and basic things like this, the binary alloy phase diagrams, for instance, that are dealing with metallurgy, and what an iron carbon diagram is all about, and the way material fractures. The people need to do their basic research like that before they even go to read documents and understand somebody who's trying to falsify a report.
Yeah.
And
But they don't have to go into that realm of complicity or complication, I should say.
well, back in
The average
1960s,
person's never gonna know some of the things that you just talked about.
well, in the 1960s, as a prelude to flight training, I made a point of reading through probably 50 or 60 crash reports. I wanted to know enough about the causes of features in air crashes that I could ask an intelligent question occasionally to my instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that if people get together in a skull session, even challenging each other's presumptions, as you're doing on the air, it has a very valuable pattern, and you have a third or fourth party there to challenge the first two that are having a dialogue.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to do things that you would do as you would instruct an intelligence team or trying to work out discovery of the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
God bless you.
Thanks for calling. Yeah, the level of ignorance in this country is way beyond belief. It's beyond understanding. It's beyond acceptance. It's not acceptable. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hey, Bill, this is Nick from Charlotte. How you doing?
Good.
I wanted to throw in my 2 cents on the World Trade Center stuff, too. On the second tower, I believe it was, the one with the plane hit higher towards the top,
Mm-hmm.
you can actually see the mass above the impact start to kind of bend down and then drop.
Yes.
Okay, that one, yeah, I can understand that. But on the second one, the second plane that hit, if you'll notice, and you can see the explosions in Newsweek or Time Magazine special edition, you've seen from a bunch of different angles.
Mm-hmm.
Most of that fuel burned up outside the building.
That's true.
Because he hit, as you're looking at the building, he hit to the right of the center.
He just hit one corner.
That's right, and he was banking.
Yeah, and
So momentum would push all that material forward.
most of it flew out away from the building and actually was dissipated by burning up in a great fireball.
That's right. And as far as detonations bringing down, I don't know when my wife got home to start recording for me. It was about 1:00, 1:30. So I had all the sanitized. I had on tape all I got the sanitized versions. But there are on Fox News, which she was recording from. It did say on one of the captions, it says, 4th explosion rocks World Trade Center.
Yeah.
And as another thing, I think it was about a couple days after the attack, you had said something about some of the people that had been fingered as terrorists were screaming their heads off in Morocco and in Europe that they're alive, and what are you doing?
Yeah.
And speaking with my uncle in Greece this Sunday, and he said that's been big news in Greece.
Yeah.
So
the United States government is lying to everybody. All of these guys were using fake ID.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an Islamic terrorist and you don't want anybody to know who you are, and you're going to die in the crash,
right.
why would you have assumed the identity of an Islamic Muslim?
Try to put blame somewhere else.
Yeah, but if you want to put blame, you don't want to put it on your own people.
That's right. That's right.
Because nobody stepped up to take credit for this, which means they never intended to. So why didn't they assume the identities of Israelis? Or Americans?
It smells fishy.
Or German? It stinks to high heaven. And if nobody knows who they are because they were using assumed identities of other people, how do they know who the terrorists were?
I don't know.
They're all dead.
It
Burned up.
amazed me. It quote-unquote amazed me how quick they were turning out information on these guys. And one other thing, not to get a little too, I don't want to say esoteric, but these guys were, the night before they died, at least one group was in a topless bar, strip club, right?
Devout Muslims don't do that.
Exactly.
They
And
never
don't
drink alcoholic
that
beverage. They don't mess around with loose women. They don't have lap dances. And if in their wildest dreams they ever were going to go to a bar, they would never have taken a copy of their holiest book, the Quran, and leave it on a bar stool.
That's right.
To be conveniently found. And they wouldn't have used credit cards with their names on them, and they wouldn't have allowed their driver's license with their actual picture to be Xeroxed. But they did. You see, this stinks. This is intelligence stuff to blame somebody else.
Well, let me ask you this, and this is kind of, I don't know if it's off the bat or not, but, I was thinking about, these guys are about to die. They know they're going to die, but they're living it up the night before, okay? Obviously, they're not the devout fundamentalists they're being portrayed to be. I got to thinking, I read a book way back.
That's the point.
Secret Society.
If they were the devout Muslim Islamic terrorists who were willing to die for the dictates of their religion against the great Satan America, they would never have done any of that. That's the whole point. It was not Islamic fundamentalist Muslims of any kind
who
were in that bar drinking.
I made that same connection, and then I got to thinking, well, who would knowingly kill themselves like that? And then I got to thinking about a book I'd read years back by Aaron Darrell about secret societies, and he writes this interesting chapter on the assassins.
Yeah.
And, they believed, the leadership of the assassins didn't believe in heaven or hell. It was just life on earth.
No, that's not true. They believed in a place called paradise.
Right, but I thought that's what they used to fool the converts. They put the person in a room and make it look like paradise with women and honey flowing out of the walls and all that good stuff. I thought that the leadership, though, didn't believe in that period. I thought that was...
Oh, no, the leadership doesn't. It's a con job to get these people to join the assassins and then be willing to kill themselves anytime they're ordered to on any mission that they're ordered to go on. The assassins ceased to exist hundreds of years ago.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. That's what these guys sounded like. But
well, you can accomplish this with any secret society.
This is true. This is very true. Okay. Well, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Thanks for calling. 520-333-4578 is the number. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Bill.
Yeah.
Talked to General Ben Parton a couple of times since this tragedy, and he's claiming that in
contradistinction to what he said about Oklahoma City, that these jets could have and did, in fact, take those buildings down all by themselves.
He's welcome to his opinion. I can tell you that at least one of those buildings fell from the bottom.
Okay, would you consider talking to him about that and you guys getting together on the same page?
No.
Be helpful to the Patriot community in general.
No.
Okay, fine.
Listen to me very carefully. I don't give a damn about the Patriot community in general. I do my own research. I document what I find. It's based upon evidence. Okay? I don't care if anybody likes me or doesn't like me. Most of the so-called Patriot community are a bunch of liars and scam artists and socialists who just can't wait to get all they can out of the government while pretending to be against big government. So don't call me up and say it'd be good for the Patriot community in general. You don't even know what the hell you're talking. You don't even know what the Patriot community in general it is. And I would bet you'd probably include Alex Jones in that. Good evening, you're on the air.
One of the things that a lot of people are overlooking is the fact that Afghanistan is a threat to the international world order because these guys are nationalists, religious nationalists in their beliefs, and they don't want to be tied into the international banking system and their control. And people like Milosevic and the Taliban are a direct threat to internationalism because their very presence can disrupt the concept of internationalism regionally and then across the whole globe.
Absolutely correct. You say that about any fundamentalist religion or any people who are trying to hang on to their culture and their beliefs and their country.
And the Afghans have every right under whatever you want to think about it, they have the absolute right to their own determination.
Absolutely. That's correct.
If the Afghan people don't like the Taliban, they're all armed. The whole country of Afghanistan is armed to the teeth. They can go and shoot those guys out of office.
That's right.
But you know what? They accept the Taliban, and regardless of what the national press and the international press in this country and the world says, the majority of people over there are behind their government. And the reason why that government is there is because the majority of people support them.
Well, I think you're probably right.
And you know, they have done everything to disrupt any
the whole world is what we've been disrupting.
Yeah,
that's why I said earlier.
They're disrupting the whole world and anybody's ability to create their own self-determination, to have their own sovereign nation. They cannot allow that.
That's because, as I've told you before and proved with documentation, official government documentation, during my series on treason and the New World Order, documented, read these documents over the air. It has been the policy of the United States government since World War II, since during World War II, as a matter of fact, to be the instrument through which world government is created, brought about, and made a reality.
Yes.
The whole thing is a creation of the United States.
Right. The whole reason we went to war...
The European Union was an idea born in Washington, D.C.
Yes. And I believe today the reason why we went to war against Germany in World War II was because the Germans' concept was nationalism. It was not internationalism, international communism.
I beg to differ with you. Hitler's goal was to eventually take over and rule the world.
Well,
if that's not globalism, I don't know what the hell is.
That could be.
Yeah, well,
my impression was that his people were pursuing a nationalist concept.
Well,
and they could not allow that to infect the rest of the world. Because there were people all over the world of other ethnic groups, other racial groups, who had considered the model of National Socialism insofar as maintaining their own national sovereignty and destiny outside of the control of the international cartel.
So what's your point?
My point is, well, it goes back to the very first.
You got to hurry up because we're out of time.
Yeah, I know. They
So
do not allow any nation or group of people to have their own nation.
Well, that's
Free and
correct.
controlled.
It's all about world government, and
Right.
everybody has to be controlled. They want to enslave the entire human race.
Mm-hmm.
I've said it a million times. That's exactly
And
what
I
it's about.
think Bin Laden is part of that greater plot, and he is there as an instrument
Read
to
the
bring this raft
Have you ever
of
read the
internationalism on the Afghanis.
You ever read the report from Iron Mountain?
No, sir.
Read it. Thanks for calling. That's it, folks. That's all she wrote. Good night. God bless each and every single one of you. Good night, Annie Pooh and Allison. I love you. Did you hear Larry King live tonight, folks, where Alexander Haig and Cap Weinberger were talking about how these terrorists were so despicable because they attacked civilians, and they killed over 6,000 civilians, and we've never done that in our history, and it's such a despicable thing. We always only attack military targets. That's a bold-faced lie. We bombed the city of Dresden in World War II with firebombs and killed over 150,000 in one night. Women and children and old men, all civilians, all non-combatants. Alexander Haig, Casper Weinberger, you're liars. You lied tonight. We also bombed Hiroshima and killed over 150,000 or more civilians, non-combatants, including American prisoners of war who were in a camp there, including two of the largest Christian centers in Japan. Did the same thing in Nagasaki. Alexander Haig and Cap Weinberger, you lied tonight on the Larry King broadcast. And I don't like liars. I don't like hypocrisy. Tell the truth, or shut up. Don't miss tomorrow night's broadcast, the hour at a time. You're listening to William Cooper, the most dangerous radio host in America, and now you know why.